passing through.
And this is our next exit.
Come and join us.
Hey folks, how's everybody doing? We've covered a lot of ground since we've done the video last. We started out in up around Indianapolis. We on our How to Find a Doctor, we were up at Horseshoe Lakes, and that's just west of Indianapolis. And our nephew Robert and his wife Esme lived there in Indianapolis, and that's why we spent so much time in that area, getting to visit with them and going over to their house and going out to eat and stuff with them, and getting to hang out with their little girls, Jessica and Alexis. It's just been a fun time. Since then, we've gone from Indianapolis. We went to Indian Lakes, and Indian Lakes is a pretty nice Thousand Trails campground, and there's a couple of Thousand Trails that we've gone to that have been Thousand Trails and KOA combinations, and that's what Indian Lakes was. I wasn't aware of that, but it was really nice. They had pull-through sites, and we got a real good site, and they're all big, a lot of grass, big sites. Oh, while we were at Indian Lakes, we went over to Robert and Esme's house and helped them put up a, what do you call it, sweetie?
Pergola.
We helped them put up a pergola over their back patio. The back of their house faces the south, and they get some really brutal afternoon sunshine. Yeah, having a good time? How are you doing? Good. Good to see you girls.
How'd you get that tall?
That's a good question. I don't know. You're getting pretty tall too. You're still getting pretty tall. So they had already put up the corner post, and we put on the roof and the rafters and stuff like that, which was a lot of fun. Esme's brother come over and helped, and a next door neighbor helped, and Robert had already built the roof, so we just had to put it up and get it all attached.
Been 4 to 5 hours, depending on when you remember to look at your watch to see what time it is.
So what is it we're making?
Some pico de gallo and some guacamole.
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 You learning anything, baby?
Not yet. Nothing that I haven't done yet. Just chopping up some veggies.
Yeah, he made us some barbecued chicken wings to kind of keep us going. Barbecued chicken wings and cold beer. And Esme and Pearl made us some guacamole and pecani sauce. And during the whole time, Robert was smoking some pork ribs. Baby back ribs, pork ribs. Mm-hmm. And I've had that before, but I've never had it cooked at your house. They were very good. Robert's dad, which is my brother Steve, if you saw our video back in Nevada.
I'll share mine with you.
No, I
Just share your glass.
I can open the other
share my
bottle.
glass with you.
If Bob wants some wine, I'll open.
So we're having some ribs.
It is his bottle of wine.
Okay, sweetie pie.
And oh, yeah, I have had a little bit now. Pretty good. And Brian, not here yet.
He had to wash his hands.
Steve makes probably the best barbecue ribs we've ever had. They just melt off the bone. They're just delicious. Robert's is as good as Steve's, but they're different. Smoked is just different. But man, they're good. So after we left, we got Robert's pergola put up, got all fed and everything. We left, and the two reasons we came to this part of the, well, there's a lot of reasons we came to this part of the country, but visiting with Robert and his family. So anyway, after we left Indian Lakes, we went up to Kinnessee Lake in Iowa to do our interview. I think most of you probably saw it. If you hadn't seen it, I'll put a link up here, but with Todd and Nancy. And they're going to go full-time here in about a year. And we spent a couple of hours visiting with them. Had a really good time. Went out to do some wine tasting and have some lunch. And hope to meet up with them again. After we left Indian Lakes, we went up to Kinnessee Lake in Iowa. Next morning I got up and I noticed the temperature in the fridge had increased. And we have the ARP protective device, and that's if your refrigerator gets too hot, it can start a fire. There's been a number of RVs burnt down. Some people have been killed. There's lawsuits. It's a pretty serious deal, and there's a serious recall. And a gentleman invented this ARP device, and it probably saved us, I don't know, but probably saved us from a fire. I'm thinking ours had, it had shut it down. We did our research, found out that we had an ammonia leak.
Here's the old one.
Oh, that's fine.
We'll lay them side by side so you can see
Our ARP device has shut the refrigerator down. I tried restarting it and it shut it back down. And then I started looking around and I found that we had an ammonia leak. And ammonia is flammable. That's what the whole Norco Dometic lawsuit and recall is about. So this is the ammonia stuff that leaks out?
Yep, that's it.
So we found on the internet the guy that makes these Amish cooling units, and it's a JC Refrigeration in Shipshewana, Indiana, and it's about 300 miles away. We called him. He said, and by now it's noon, and he said if we could be there by 8 o'clock in the morning, he could take our Norcold cooling unit out, put in his cooling unit, and have us back on the road by noon. So we just left everything at our campground, unhooked the car, fired up the RV, and headed to Shipshewana. We got there about 9:30 at night, and he had one that he did before us. He started at like 6:30 or something and got in the morning. He got one in, then at about 8 o'clock he brought us in. They totally pulled the refrigerator out, changed everything, and got us done by 10 o'clock. Waited a couple hours to make sure it was cooling, and we got home by 5:30 the following that day. So we left on a Wednesday at noon, and we got home Thursday afternoon, and the refrigerator was nice and cold. And then Saturday we did our interview with Todd and Nancy. So it was a hectic couple of days, but it was a pretty good deal to get done, and we're fortunate to get in so quick. Cost us $1,500. It's $1,200 for the unit, $300 to install it, and then it cost about $300 for fuel to drive to ship Shawana and back. So the total cost is about $1,800. But we're glad that it happened, glad that it's done. And if you don't, you guys that either have an RV or you're thinking about getting an RV, you need one of these little levels or some kind of level. But that bubble, if it gets more than about a half a bubble out, you're doing damage to your refrigerator. That ammonia stuff crystallizes inside those tubes, the cooling tubes, and they say it's like your blood getting cholesterol building up in your blood veins. It just slowly but surely builds up, and your refrigerator starts working less efficient, and it corrodes inside of those tubes, and then eventually that ammonia spills out and can catch on fire. So you got to keep them level. You need to do some research. I'll put you a link to this ARP website. You need, no matter if your refrigerator is involved in this recall, you should put one of these ARP devices on. It costs less than $200, and they'll make your refrigerator work more efficiently, work better. And if you're involved in the recall like we are, you definitely need to have one to help prevent that fire. So anyway, I'll put a link to there. He's got a lot of videos, a lot of information, and you need to get one. It's just a fact. You need to keep your refrigerator level, and you need an ARP safety device. After we left Tennessee, we went up to the KOA at Niagara Falls. I think it's called Grand Island Niagara Falls KOA. And we spent 3 nights there because we really wanted to see Niagara Falls. We've heard about it our whole life, never have seen it. And it was awesome. We did the Maid of the Mist boat ride, where it takes you right up there into the falls, both on the Canadian side and the American side. We went up this Skyline Tower. It's 520 feet above the ground, where you get to look down. It's just an awesome view. You can see both sides at once and all the water. It's another neat view. And we did the behind the waterfall tour, where they got these tunnels that they've cut out in the rocks and stuff there.
The red one down there.
And and it's just an awesome thing. It's not one of the wonders of the world, but it should be. It's pretty neat.
A little bit. A little bit wet.
So we enjoyed that. I think that tour was $150 a piece. It was all day, and we got to do pretty much see it from every way you can see it. One thing, the KOA was almost $90 a night, and it was just about the same. We've been kind of saying these Thousand Trails are just not really resorts or nothing. They're just preserves or campgrounds. So we're way more impressed with our Thousand Trails parks, because they're every bit as nice as that $90 a night KOA at Niagara Falls. And a lot of the Thousand Trails are nicer than that one. Have a lot greener grass, and sites are just as nice, or really nicer. So it's been a nice month. June and July have been really great. We've been a little nervous of New England, and we hadn't really got into New England yet, but we're starting to pay a lot of tolls and hitting a lot of toll booths. We did go buy us a new GPS twice now in the since we've been on kind of I still call this the New England, even though we're a little early, but going into, was it Kinnessy Lakes? Which one had the low bridge? Going into Kinnessy Lakes, the GPS used on our phone takes you along a route that takes you right to a 12-foot bridge. 10 foot. Takes you. Our GPS took us on a route that took us to a 10-foot bridge. And luckily the park owner sent us an email and said, don't follow your GPS if you're coming from the west, because it's going to take you into this low bridge. And they told us the way to go. So we didn't follow the GPS, we went ahead and followed their advice. And it was a good thing, the bridge was right there. And then leaving the KOA coming down here to Gettysburg, one of the routes on 20A, I think it was, had a low bridge, 12-foot bridge, and we're 12'9". And so I had been searching. I used the All Stays app to find low bridges, and I've got a trucker's atlas that I use to find low bridges, but I'm just real nervous about getting caught in low bridges. So we got us the RV GPS. Awesome. Totally recommend it. I'd read a number of reviews saying it was, and it's been out for a year, I think, maybe a little bit longer. But I think they fixed most of the complaints. They were saying it took you a whole lot of long ways around to try to miss low bridges and issues where your RV won't get on the road or something, and it takes you further than it needs to. They've got those fixed. It seems like it worked just perfect. And it also has, I don't think it bothers too much here, but it shows for the next 10 miles in front of you the grade of the ups and downs of the road going along. In our RV, on a hot day when it's up in the 90s and stuff, and doing back west, when you're going up over the Rockies and the Sierras and stuff, you hit these 6% grades that go for miles and miles. And on a hot day, we'd overheat. We'd watch it close, we'd downshift, get our RPM up and lower our speed a little bit. And we can do just fine, but we do have an issue with overheating, and we have to watch it. Seeing these grades here, like you can see here on the picture, that's a 10-mile window, and you can see what's coming up. And so if it starts warming up, getting to 200, 210, but you know the grade is about to end, you don't have to worry about it so much. But if you see you got more and more miles of it on the GPS, it lets you know you need to get downshift and not let it get ahead of you. So we totally recommend the Garmin RV 770, and we're not associated with it. They didn't give it to us for free. We went and bought it from Camping World. I think it's $325, something like that. And batteries, we've had some issues with our start batteries. Our start batteries were 2012 manufactured, so they're 6 years old, and our house batteries were new when we got the coach in 2014, so they're 4 years old. The house batteries were still doing fair, they didn't last too long. They were definitely getting wore down, but the start batteries started going dead on us. There's a little switch you can push to join them both together, so it always would start up when we joined them both together. But we decided to just get all new batteries, and it was like $750, but we went down to Sam's Club, got 4 new coach batteries and 2 new start batteries, and we're back to speed. So hang around for our July expense report, because we're blowing it out of the water. It's been a tough month, but we got, and I keep saying this every month, I think we got everything good to go. But there's always a new surprise, and that's part of RVing. You know, you just never know. You've got to set aside some money and kind of allocate some maintenance dollars, because there's maintenance got to be done, especially when you have an old rig like ours. Ours is a '07, so we're 11 years old and probably closer to 12. So keep them in good shape and keep some money set aside for new batteries and GPSs and everything else that can go wrong. And that about covers it. Pearl's been peeling us some apples and slicing some cheese, so lunch is almost ready, so I'm going to go ahead and hang up. But keep the wheels rolling. If you hadn't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to do a video, if you want to tell our viewers, we're getting up almost to 3,000. We're getting almost up to 3,000 viewers now. If you want to share your story with our viewers, we'd love to make a video with you. And we can all learn from each other. Pearl says my food's ready. So keep the wheels rolling. Stay safe. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
When you were talking about being up to Niagara Falls on the New York side, you didn't mention anything about going on the Canada side, on the Toronto side, where the falls were pretty.
I think I did say.
No, you didn't.
I think I did.
You didn't.
Well, you can watch the video and see.
Okay, you can watch it.
Yeah. We did the Maid of the Mist boat ride, where it takes you right up there into the falls, both on the Canadian side and the American side. We